can hear every game live right here on 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, and online. So listen to every play right here on WOCA, The Source, your home for local news, talk, and sports.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Beautiful Thursday. Tomorrow night, that promo we just heard for Friday night high school football in WOCA begins the football season, at least here, at least for the high school kids. And it's such a great thing that we have Galen Unol doing the play-by-play, and he's an amazing wealth of knowledge. Not only can he call the game well, but he can throw in all kinds of tidbits of information, facts about the game from every angle. I mean, he knows the local kids, so he knows all their facts, which is probably only knowable if you've lived here for a long time. And then, of course, he knows the college stuff and definitely the professional stuff. Our next guy knows a little bit about it as well. He is the author of the book called In the Name of the Father. This is the Archie, Eli, and what's the other Manning's name? The Mannings.
Oh, yeah. I
Archie,
don't know.
Eli. Oh, my gosh. I'm forgetting one.
You're asking me.
Mark Ribowsky, you're probably thinking, oh, these aren't.
Peyton. Is it Peyton?
Oh, Mark's saying these. Oh, gosh. Who's interviewing me? Who's interviewing? Mark is an historian, a researcher, a best-selling author. And, you know, I love biographies, and it really doesn't matter what it's about. And I love the fact that he's exploring the relationship between the three generations and how they all became household names for the rest of us. Mark, I hear a little bit of echo. I apologize for that. Good morning, Mark.
Good. I think you're looking for Cooper, the third son.
Okay, Cooper. Okay.
Cooperman.
Cooper Manning.
Okay.
Got it.
Manning.
Yeah, there's a crazy echo going on.
Not Cooperman, no.
Oh.
That's a whole different game.
There you go.
Where are you calling from, Mark?
Well, I'm in Florida too. I'm in Boca Raton, but I'm a New York boy, born and raised. I've been down here for a couple of years.
Were you into football in New York?
Of course.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah, in fact, I'm a Jets, Knicks, Mets fan. How pathetic am I, right? So.
Oh, Larry has a friend that's a super Mets fan up in New York.
Jets, Knicks, and Mets. No, I think I think my friend has the same trio of teams that he follows. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. So where'd you grow up in New York? Because he's on Long Island. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Well, I was on Long Island last. I grew up in Yonkers. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Sure.
Right on the border of the city and the Bronx there.
Right.
And then I lived in the city for 20 years, and then I had a family, moved to Long Island, couldn't take the snow anymore, and took the big step down here to Boca. I'm still kind of a fish out of water here, but at least I don't have to shovel snow anymore.
Well, this part of the state is Gator country as far as college games are concerned. So football is a huge thing here.
You don't mention that to Peyton. He never won. He never beat them.
Wow.
For 4 years. Yeah. Which is the reason that he never won the Heisman and never won a national title. And the year that he left, the year after he left, the first year he was gone, they won the national title and beat the Gators.
Oh my God.
That's part of the whole Mannings. But they didn't do him by then it didn't matter. He was looking for the gold by then, the pro gold.
So when you decided to write this book, it's a different angle than any other sports book I think that we've talked about. In that you talk about the three generations. Where does it start? Archie's the older, right? The elder.
Archie's the daddy, the big daddy of the family, and whose roots go way back in the Delta of Mississippi, Drew, Mississippi, which is right there in the Delta. The classic sleepy, dusty Delta town, as Bobby Gentry sang in Ode to Billy Joe. Really. If you listen to that song, you could really get the feel of what it was like growing up back then, because it was all cotton fields and misery and broken dreams.
Really?
And Yes, and it was Archie who broke that chain. He was the first real star. You know, he owned the town, then he owned the whole state when he went to Ole Miss, and he became the quarterback, the Southern quarterback. They wrote songs to him, about him. You know, they named streets after him, and you know, it was the first, you know, shot across the bow by this family that we're living with for 47 years in the NFL. It's been a Manning at starting quarterback for 33 years. So, you know, that's a real dynasty.
So when it has that kind of success and the children see that kind of adulation, is that what gets the next generation involved in the same thing as Dad was involved in?
Yeah, but he never pushed them, which was you know one of the crucial factors. He never really said you must play, you must be quarterback. In fact, we talked about Cooper, the oldest son. He was the first one to make himself a star. He wasn't a quarterback; he was a receiver. He was long and lean. He had long fingers, sticky fingers, and he was the first one to make a name for himself at Newman High in New Orleans, which is where the family moved. Where obviously Archie moved after he was the first round draft pick of the New Orleans Saints and went through such misery with that team. That's where the kids grew up, and Cooper was the first one to make it. He was all state, and his quarterback for 1 year was his brother Peyton, who was even as a young teenager obsessed about playing quarterback, and he would sit with Archie in their den watching pro films, you know, as Archie got ready for his next pro game. Peyton was there absorbing it all. He was a maniac for detail.
Wow.
And Archie passed down the DNA, the physical talent, and Peyton was like made to be a pro star when he was a teenager. But, you know, they had this plan, you know, that they were going to repeat that connection, that high school connection at Ole Miss. You know, Cooper enrolled there, but then he was diagnosed with spinal stenosis, and he never played a game at Ole Miss. And that devastated Peyton, who was going to go there. He decided not to go there, which crushed Archie, because he wanted all his sons to go to Ole Miss. And so he went to Tennessee instead, and, you know, made a name for himself. And then 5 years later, Eli, the baby brother, comes along, and he does go to Ole Miss, and he breaks all of Archie's old records. Wow. So, you know, the circle was closed eventually anyway. But with the Mannings, you got to go through a lot of pain and anguish before you get to the final beat there.
Was Archie's drive, was that influenced by his dad's suicide?
I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people still to this day don't know about the suicide of Buddy Manning, because it was kept so quiet in real time. It was almost like bringing it up would sully the sun, you know, somehow. And it was very, I mean, this is a small town, Drew. This is like Mayberry, you know, this is classic small town America, where, and small town Southern America, where everybody knows everybody else. And the shock of Buddy Manning, and the way he did it, which was to rig up this contraption with a stick and a string tied to the trigger of a rifle. And it's just so gruesome.
No,
the details are just so gruesome. And what made it worse was that he knew that Archie was going to be the one to find him.
Oh,
because Archie was 19. He was home for the summer after his first year at Ole Miss, and the rest of the family was away at a wedding. Okay, so only Archie and Buddy were left in Drew. So he knew that Archie would walk in the door and see his body. Oh. It's such a gruesome story, and it made Archie have to become a man on the spot. I mean, if he wasn't before that, he really had to grow up in a hurry and adapt to that. And if you read the book, it's a very strange. There are a lot of undercurrents there. Maybe Buddy being jealous of his son for doing what he never could, and you know, all kinds of these factors that almost make it read like a Southern novel, like a Faulkner, or Tennessee Williams, you know, play, because all these things come into play. And the suicide obviously had to affect Archie. How do you go through life with that in your brain, with that scenario always in your brain.
Wow.
So he had to grow up in a hurry, and give him credit for being able to weather that, because he was going to quit football and just take care of the family instead.
That was going to be
but
my
his mother, Sis Manning, Jane, convinced him, said, no, you, this is your future here. You're going to be much, you're going to go where Mannings have never gone before. And so he went back to Ole Miss and became, the star of stars in the South. But that has to linger in his brain to this day.
Sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. How could you ever forget something like that? And you answered the question I was going to ask is, did it, if your dad kills himself because you're successful, you might decide, well, never mind, I'm not going to do this anymore then.
Yeah, I mean, it must be why Archie is so kind of stone-faced in his emotions now, like almost a defense mechanism. He was the one who really revealed it to the nation at large, but only a few years ago when they did a documentary on him at ESPN, and it was shocking when he told of this story about his father, because today it would be all over the news, right? I mean, it would be with the 24-hour news cycle and cable news. Back then, it was buried. I mean, it was just nobody. They wrote of it fleetingly in the press through his years as a pro, but almost like as a throwaway, and Archie had to overcome, the death of it. They didn't really get into the details of this.
Wow.
Archie himself revealed them, but he revealed them with a kind of matter-of-factness that I think he developed almost as a scab to protect himself from the emotional hurt. But it's gotta hurt still to this day.
How did the other brothers? How were the other brothers affected by it? I'm sure it was pretty powerful, also.
Well, Archie only had one sister. That was, that was.
Oh, I'm thinking. I'm
family.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of his sons.
No, but really, yeah, right. Yeah, you're right, because when the kids come along years later, obviously never getting to meet Buddy, they had to listen to Archie tell them about the death of their grandfather, and that must have been searing to them also.
Yeah,
because anyone in the family who kills himself like that, you have to wonder: is that genetic? Is there something that's going to be passed down from Buddy to us?
Yeah,
and and they said the kid said Archie just didn't want to talk about it. He just didn't. He would mention it matter of factly, but he would never go into his emotions about it.
Wow.
And I think that transferred to the kids too.
So how were you drawn to their story, and were you able to interview any of them?
Well, I went to they have this thing called the Manning Passing Academy in Louisiana every summer. This was Archie's baby. He started this like 35 years ago. And when his sons became old enough, he demanded that they come in, and they did out of loyalty to him and the family. It's almost like a family bonding routine to do this 2-week camp down there. Not even 2 weeks, not even 1 week. And kids pay their way a lot of money to come in just to see Peyton Manning basically throw a couple of footballs, because that's the only time you'll ever see Peyton throw a football again. Wow. Because he could barely pick one up.
Mm-hmm.
His nerve endings are such after those operations on his neck,
mm-hmm.
And his spine, that he can't even throw football anymore. But he will do that at the camp. He'll take a shot at it for 3 or 4 wobbly passes. That's what they pay to see. And I went there, to just touch bases with them, and they're very nice. They know how to handle the media. I mean, there's one thing about the Mannings. They were primed to handle the media. Even Archie in his day, he's a very laconic, terse kind of guy.
Really?
But he knew how to handle the media too. They're very savvy like that. And they were nice. And Archie admitted to me he wasn't the greatest father. A lot of bumps in the road. And I had interviewed Peyton in 2000 after his rookie pro season. He was very nice then too, and even remembered. So he's very good. But I didn't want them to be the fulcrum of it. I didn't want them to have any kind of veto power I didn't want them to be any kind of controlling force, because I want it to be my book. I want to tell the story my way.
Yeah.
I want to tell it in the context of history, which they don't even, they haven't even thought about the importance of the family dynasty as it relates to Southern history, because there's a lot there dealing with race and white male privilege and the changes in culture in the South. Don't forget when Archie was at Ole Miss, he used to carry, he before games, he'd carry the Confederate flag out to the field with Colonel Reb, which is a symbol of racism back then.
Right.
To the sounds of Dixie. I mean, yeah, and they were the faces of a new generation of the South when all that changed. But there's still a lot left. There's still a lot of holdovers to that, especially Peyton and I think he's got a sense of white male privilege that showed up in that scandal with the trainer, the female trainer at Tennessee.
Right.
Because he just can't let that go. He has to keep blaming her for things she never did. And it's very disturbing.
Mark, I want to ask you something. I was looking through the other books you've written, and it looks like sports and music are like two of your things, and you've covered some of my favorite musicians. So if we were talking about one of your music books, I might be better versed at it than sports. But I have a question for you regarding the racism attitudes that all the people you've written about probably have a story one way or another about. Do you and this is kind of maybe a general question, but do you think, how do I ask this? Do you think money helped solve some of the racist attitudes we've had? In other words, if you've got a great player, whether it's in music or in sports, you don't care what color they are, because you just want somebody to be on your team or in your band who can bring in the money, right?
Yeah, sure. That's the way it was back then.
So,
a black player was not allowed to was not allowed to play for an Ole Miss team until long after Archie was gone. Now, just think about that. He left the school in 1971, and it was still were not allowing black players. Yeah, and there were still riots on campus. That was the James Meredith era. That was the era when George Wallace was standing in the doorway in Alabama, refusing to let black students in. It's not that long ago.
No,
really not that long ago.
They said,
and they had to, and they were, Archie was conditioned by his upbringing, not because Buddy was a racist. They weren't overt. They weren't a Klan member. They didn't go marching around in hoods, burning crosses on lawns. But being in Drew, you were conditioned to have almost have a naturally racist outlook on life, because that was how you lived your life. Wherever you looked, it was white, and across the tracks were blacks.
Yeah.
And and there was an incident at Archie's school where a black girl was sitting on the steps and was shot to death.
Oh my God!
This was in his senior year at Drew High. The irony now is that Drew is majority black, and that old high school is no longer in existence. They closed it down when it was almost all black, and the white elders of the town said, "We can't have it. It's getting too black in this town."
Oh my God!
This is where the Mannings had their roots. And Archie's no racist, but when you look at things like his son's encounter with the trainer there, it's almost like there's a pride taken in being a Southern man. What Neil Young sung about the Southern man, and it's just he can't let it go. He has to insult this woman, and it's very disturbing, because otherwise, Peyton Manning is covered by Teflon. He could do anything.
Yeah,
he could almost be the one to shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with, because no one would care.
Yeah.
But there's one little thing that nags you about him, and I guess that has something to do with his DNA in the South. So who knows?
It seems like they all had very good personalities, though, but they like to have fun also, to enjoy life, even though they were competitive.
Yes, the Manning boys certainly like to have fun, and they've gotten in trouble for it. Eli was arrested when he went to Ole Miss for public drunkenness, and had he not worn that Manning name, he probably would have been kicked right off the team. You know,
Wow.
so there's a little bit of privilege there being a Manning too. It's called Manning privilege.
Yes.
Yeah,
But they do. They love to have. They are very fun loving. You could see it on the commercials. You know, those ESPN commercials that they do, which are very good because that really catches the tone, the tenor of the way the Suns are. They're very close knit. It's almost like a Three Musketeer thing. You know, one for all for one.
Oh, that's
And
wonderful.
what I like about it is that they include Cooper in their commercials, and because Cooper was dealt a bum hand. But he is a Manning boy. He is one, so he carries that same DNA. When the Simpsons did a spoof of the Manning family, they included Cooper. He was with an animated Cooper was right there with the other two.
Oh,
And I really think that's great.
that
Yeah, I
gives me
think that's
chills.
good. And I wouldn't feel too bad for Cooper anyway, because he makes about $12 million a year as an energy trader in New Orleans.
Oh.
So, I wouldn't feel too bad for him. But yeah, he he got a bum hand, but they're all very bright, by the way. I mean, very intelligent, all Phi Beta Kappa. Archie also, when he went to school. It's a very special family, obviously.
Is there another generation of football Mannings that we'll see in a couple of years?
Well, Peyton has a son. Eli has 3 daughters, so you rule that out unless he, gets busy again. And Cooper, I don't know. It would depend on Peyton's son. And listen, don't rule it out.
Yeah.
This is a dynasty like no other in sports history. And to keep it going, I think we're going to see a lot of Peyton and Eli in the future, maybe owning a team, co-owning a team. I think they're going to want to stay in football after they're out of it. They're going to want to stay in football somehow.
Mark, did any preconceived thoughts you might have had or feelings you might have had about the Manning family change as a result of doing the book?
No, because I didn't really know the Mannings. I didn't really know them. I just, knew them as quarterbacks.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really know them as people. Like I said, I did interview Peyton years ago, and he was very nice. But I didn't know the story of the father.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know. A lot of people didn't. And the anguish of the family having to go through so much defeat before they found victory.
Yeah. I
didn't realize that Peyton lost his first 7 games to Tom Brady, and that he finished losing 14 of 21 to Brady.
Oh,
Yet here we go with the Mannings. It always seems to end well. The last time they met was in the AFC Championship game, 2015, and Peyton beat Brady to get to the Super Bowl, win that last Super Bowl, even though he had little to do with it.
Wow.
The Broncos defense won it. But again, this is how the Mannings roll. They go through a lot of pain, but it always seems to end on a high note, which is why we shouldn't count Eli out from winning his 3rd Super Bowl, which would, he would one up Peyton if he did that, and he'd probably get him to the Hall of Fame. Don't underestimate him. He's still got a lot of stuff left.
The book is called In the Name of the Father. In the Name of the Father, Family Football and the Manning Dynasty. Mark Ribowsky is the author. I found it on Amazon. Do you have a website you want to recommend?
Well, I don't have my own, but certainly on Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com. If you have any brick and mortar bookstores left, I don't know if there are any left. You can probably find it at a Barnes and Noble.
We got them. Yeah, we got them here.
Out of the trunk of my car. If you,
You're fun. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
You're welcome. We'll be right back.
Tired of looking at stained carpets, dirty tile, or grout? Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Make your flooring look great again. Stains, pet odors, allergies. Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. From serving our country to serving our community. Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Residential and commercial. Their work is guaranteed along with your satisfaction. Check their website, silverbackrestoration.com.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. The president speaking out after convictions of some of his former aides, bashing his ex-attorney Michael Cohen and praising ex-campaign chair Paul Manafort.
I have great respect for what he's done in terms of what he's gone through. You know, he worked for Ronald Reagan for years. He worked for Bob Dole.
In an exclusive interview with Fox and Friends' Ainsley Earhardt, also warning if he were impeached, the market would crash. The president declaring a state of emergency for Hawaii as Hurricane Lane turns closer.
Already a Category 4 storm and could be the most powerful one to hit Hawaii since 1992. National Weather Service meteorologist Gavin Shigesato.
Going to be passing dangerously close to the islands. And with this, there's a threat for prolonged heavy rainfall, life-threatening flash flooding.
FEMA already has barges with food, water, and supplies in the region.
Fox at Tanya J. Powers. Fox News. We report. You decide.
And now, the worst commercial ever.
Hi, I am Justin Galvin, retired athlete from your local ball team, so I know a thing or two about insuring a landscaping business. I trust the pros, commercial auto and business insurance through Progressive. Get customized insurance solutions that'll hit a grand slam home run for you. Are we done?
A totally mailed-in celebrity endorsement. Awful. Whereas commercial auto and business insurance through Progressive is anything but. Visit progressivecommercial.com to quote today. Insurance provided and serviced by Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Its affiliated and third-party insurers.
You've got lots of engines in your life. Cars, yard equipment, ATVs, motorcycles, watercraft, you name it. And they all use fuel and oil. These same fluids that make your engine run also create deposits that reduce performance and gas mileage. Gum Out Multi-System Tune-Up removes these gummy carbon deposits and stabilizes fuel and oil, helping restore performance and fuel economy. Get a can today at just $6.47 at your local Walmart. Gum Out. Science in, performance out.
Send President Trump a real partner in Congress. Businessman Judson Sapp, rock-solid conservative, pro-life, A-rated by the NRA. Judson Sapp will stand with President Trump, cut taxes, build the wall, repeal Obamacare, put America first. Rock-solid conservative for Congress. Businessman Judson Sapp. Citizens for Common Sense USA paid for and is responsible for the content of this message. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. CFCSUSA.com.
PPIR is a networking group formed to serve the realtor and small business community. It primarily serves the real estate and construction industry, but is open to all businesses that provide any service or product to the real estate business community. PPIR has no membership dues or fees for attendees. The watchwords are keep it simple and maximize networking time. PPIR chapters meet 3 times monthly at different locations after normal business hours. For information on this, call 352-615-9412 or go to events at ppirevents.com. PPIR, professional people in real estate.
Here are today's headlines from The Source, WOCA. A 16-year-old 10th grader at Westport High School has been arrested after a student resource officer found he had a gun and ammunition in his backpack. The student has been charged with possession of a firearm on a school property and possession of a firearm under the age of 21. A report from Marion County Public Schools states that Superintendent Dr. Heidi Mayer sent a phone message to 49,338 recipients informing them about the incident.
Good evening, Marion County families. This is Superintendent Dr. Heidi Mayer. Today at Westport High School, a student brought an unloaded handgun onto campus. Our Safe Schools coordinator and support staff from the district responded to Westport immediately. We are also thankful to Ocala Police Department for their expeditious response. Under guidance from Ocala Police Department, we delayed in notifying the public of the code yellow. Ocala Police Department needed time to investigate, secure the campus, and ensure student safety. The district also needed to confirm all facts while we allowed Ocala Police Department to investigate.
After the suspect was arrested, the 2,600 student population continued on to lunch and to class under a code yellow advisory. Florida's top incoming legislative leaders are rejecting Governor Rick Scott's push to redirect $58 million so school districts can hire more campus police officers. The lawmakers say the state should stay with a program they crafted that puts armed security guards and staff members in its public schools. House Speaker-elect Jose Oliva and incoming Senate President-elect Bill Galvano, both Republicans, said yesterday the money should remain budgeted for the state's Guardian program. The governor wants the unspent money freed so the districts can hire more officers. An Associated Press survey found 2/3 of the districts want police officers or sheriff's deputies in the schools. The Star Banner is reporting that a Marion County deputy and another man were seriously injured in a two-vehicle accident on County Road 314 in Silver Springs yesterday. Deputy Brian Owen and the driver of a Toyota Tundra pickup truck were extricated from their vehicles following the crash and rushed to Ocala Regional Medical Center. Owen was in surgery early this morning. The crash was reported around 10:50 p.m. yesterday evening, about a mile north of East State Road 40. A witness reported seeing the Toyota Tundra swerving and then crossing over the center line into the path of the sheriff's office vehicle. A Northwest Florida congressman who supports President Trump has this response to lawyer Michael Cohen's decision to cop a plea deal and insist that his former client conspired with him to violate campaign finance laws to pay off a porn actress.
Michael Cohen is a liar, been proven a liar. He'll continue to be proven a liar.
Matt Gaetz also insists that the conviction of former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort of various financial crimes won't affect the president. The traffic may not always be fun and the paycheck may not always be the biggest, but at least you know you're free in Florida. A new survey by the Cato Institute says Florida is the freest state in the union.
Florida is the freest state in the country in our study, Freedom in the 50 States.
Dr. William Ruger of the Charles Koch Institute is co-author of the study, which uses about 24 factors, including fiscal policy, regulation, education, and factors such as the right to start a business. He says Florida also shines because it does not box in developers and builders with a lot of land use restrictions. Ruger says we could make Florida even freer by cutting down on occupational licensing laws. California came in 48th, and New York came in dead last. The head of one of the United States' largest environmental nonprofits says he was stunned yesterday to see thousands of dead fish and devastation to other marine life from a red tide hugging Southwest Florida's Gulf Coast. Colin O'Mara, the president and CEO of the National Wildlife Federation, went yesterday with a charter boat captain into waters off Southwest Florida's coast in the Sanibel Island area. He reported thousands and thousands of dead fish, eels, and horseshoe crabs in the Gulf of Mexico. He also saw the carcasses of 6-foot-long Goliath grouper fish. The toxic algae bloom has overrun Florida's southern Gulf Coast this summer. It's hugging much of Florida's peninsula from Naples in the south to Bradenton, some 150 miles north.